We are slowly learning more about the lurid history of Matt Gaetz and how this investigation into him began. Again, always giving the caveat, maybe he didn't do anything. Let's just put that out there. But here is apparently how it began. Federal investigators are looking into a Bahamas trip that Matt Gaetz allegedly took in late 2018 or early 2019 as part of an inquiry into whether the Florida representative violated sex trafficking laws. This is what multiple sources told CBS News. Gaetz was on a trip with a marijuana entrepreneur and hand surgeon named, why do they have to say that he's a hand surgeon? Named Jason Pirozzolo, who allegedly paid for the travel expenses, accommodations, and female escorts. Investigators are trying to determine if the escorts were illegally trafficked across state or international lines for the purpose of sex with the congressman. Investigators also want to know if Gaetz was accepting paid escorts in exchange for political access or legislative favors, the sources said. So look, it is one thing for all of what we heard about Florida and all of that. If he is potentially having other people pay for escorts, while those people have things that they want done legislatively by the congressman, I mean, that is the most textbook corruption that I can imagine. And the idea that it's not good enough that you do that, you also do it internationally, and you don't even just take the raw money, like an old school politician. You're getting sex for it, which I guess is also what old school politicians would have done. So maybe Matt Gaetz is more of an old school politician than I thought. And again, all allegations being investigated. We don't know if any of it is true, but also look at his face. Rashad, your thoughts?
By the way that fella's hairstyle is developed, you can tell he probably traffics underage children. The way this guy, the smugness of this
Rashad.
guy. I'm just saying,
funny,
man.
But
okay. The reality is, Matt Gaetz looked like a guilty individual on the Tucker Carlson show by trying to throw Tucker Carlson under the bus. And then he tried to throw Tucker's wife under the bus. Tucker had to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no context for that. Of course you know what he's talking about, right? Bottom line, this guy had a friend that he engaged with. According to a lot of the circumstantial evidence, this friend Greenberg got arrested. He was indicted, for sex trafficking and a few other crimes. And that's when Matt Gaetz saw the writing on the wall and started to lobby the Trump administration to somehow get a blanket preemptive pardon, right? If you're lobbying for a pardon, just think about this, John. If you're trying to get a blanket preemptive pardon, that means you're guilty of something. Yeah. Right? No one does that, and they're not guilty of anything at all. And he tried to manipulate the Trump administration and made up a bunch of lies about Democrats and the left-wing media and everybody coming after him. But it was really about the investigation of his friend because he knew his friend was likely going to snitch on him.
Yeah, and this is it's a lot of stuff. And again, as we've said 1,000 times, all of it might be fake or made up. Maybe it's the deep state, maybe Satan works at the DOJ, maybe it's just an extortion thing rather than potentially an extortion thing based on actual crimes that were committed, which is, I've always felt, the best time to extort someone, when they've broken the law. But anyway, we don't know. But we do have a few more details on this. In a July 2018 podcast, that marijuana entrepreneur and hand surgeon Pirozzolo told ganjapreneur.com that Gaetz was working to introduce federal legislation that would boost medical research of cannabis. Now look, if Gaetz just wanted to boost medical research into cannabis, I think that's a laudable goal. I think they should do that. But if he's doing that because this guy that has a business around marijuana is taking him across international lines and bringing escorts with, just the trip alone is highly suspicious, let alone the escorts too. And we know that this guy has donated to Gaetz. He gave him 2 separate donations of $1,000 in March 2016 and May 2017. Now look, I personally think those sorts of donations are corruption. We've said that consistently here for years at this network, but obviously that's the most normal and legal thing in the world to do that sort of donation when you have a specific thing you want. But anyway, it doesn't look great. Again, it might not go anywhere because maybe he didn't do anything, or it might not go anywhere because politicians get away with a lot of illegal, shady stuff. We may be stuck with Gaetz for a very long time, but More and more is coming out, and it is hard to believe that he is 100% innocent with all of this sort of circumstantial stuff floating around out there.
Yeah, I concur. And if he took this trip to the Bahamas, John, and there was a lobbying operation going on, that violates a litany of other laws that are set in place to make sure there's transparency between what lobbyists are doing as it relates to lawmakers. If this is not reported as a lobbying feat, that will also become a statutory violation and another charge in the future.
Yeah. And we'll see. I hope that if something is gonna come of this, I hope that it comes soon, because we've seen how this goes generally. Like, when you drag things out with an investigation, sometimes people move on. Like even us. What's going on with Cuomo right now? I don't know. There's an investigation, I guess. In a month or 6 months we'll know something, or maybe they'll be fine. Maybe everyone will have moved on and they'll get away with everything. Maybe Cuomo and Gaetz can have a party sometime off in the Bahamas.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.